what you need to get started. If you haven't been working out and you decided that I just wanted to get started, I don't have a lot of money, I don't know if I want to invest a lot in this. This is my opinion. I'm going to reverse this camera, see if I can. Alright, here's why I'm going to try to convince you that if you're a guy, 25s, I would buy a set of 25-pound dumbbells, and I would personally invest in an adjustable bench. Now, you don't have to get the nicest bench. I did buy that one new several years ago. I originally started with one of these that was a freebie from a friend that had, that lays down obviously, just got it stacked over in the corner. It was a freebie from a friend, and it's okay if you need to start with that, go ahead. I would say if you think you might get into it, spend a little bit more on a slightly nicer one and they'll probably last you a lot better. But let me explain. So here's some of the random stuff you can do with 25s. Is why I say it's a low, easy starter. It's something you can store away inside just your bedroom or whatever, and you don't have to have a dedicated gym. If you get into it, you can buy things over time. I'll explain at the end of the video how it's become an obsession and a passion for me, and I bought a lot of stuff. And some people look around at the things I have and they're like, well, of course he can do that because he's got, you know, a whole gym, he's got this. I pieced this thing together myself from when I bought this house. It was just a roof with a screen enclosure. And just from passion and from finding deals and getting stuff together. I'll explain that stuff afterwards, but you can start with things like just a set of 25s. Some of the reason I like that number is because it's very versatile, and I'm going to show you a bunch of things you can do with just that, regardless of how entry level you are, or even if you're a very strong guy. Some of the other benefits to that particular number is the dumbbell sets, everything that is from about 30 pounds below, is the market's flooded with that. By the way, sorry for the bad audio. My gym has only a single roof and it's been raining outside, so that's the loud noises you keep hearing. Usually you spend like $1 or $1.50 per pound on trying to buy stuff off of Marketplace, and especially new, you can get up to $2 with the rubber coated things and all that. There's so many people that get into working out that give up after a few months, after a year. A lot of times they'll keep their stuff for a year or so, and they're just like, I know I spent $100, I would love to just get $10 and get rid of it. So that's why anything less than 30 pounds is a sweet spot. Really good chance that if you're shopping around, you'll be able to pick up those and possibly a bunch of little weights. Things like this where like 5 pounds and 12 pounds and random weights. Just because a person's getting rid of it at the same time, they're like, well, whatever, just move on. I do like having a set of those, and if you have the capability to find yourself a bench, it adds a ton more things. A lot of the other stuff is really nice, and I have my favorite pieces of equipment, but I have to say, if you're getting started, that's very easy entry-level stuff. The reason, like, I use these 25s out of everything. I'll show you this. Like, that's the current dumbbell setup that I have. It goes from 2 and 3 and 5 and 8 pounds down there at the bottom, all the way up from the 10s and 12s. I skip a few, but we go right on up to those 90s on the ground. And I use the 25s more than anything. I do like a lot of the others, but if I was starting over, this is what I would do. 25s, if you have a bench, you can do, I've got this slightly inclined, so it gives me a different angle for my butterflies because I'm just doing a chest flies. If you are strained a little more and you have it done, keep your arms where this weight is closer in, and then you bring your arms up. That will still give your chest a workout. If it's too light of a weight for you, you let the weight go a little farther out. If you really need to open it up, you can let the weight come all the way out here. how you can adjust the weight of it being still at 25, and yet you're adjusting the weight out. And yes, it's nice to have a whole rack that you can, well, go slightly heavier as your workout progresses, but you can just do more reps and you can get very good. You can also still do many different presses, and with the bench you can adjust the angle to where you're doing declines, inclines, and just horizontal bench. But regular presses, you can duplicate the same thing as a bench press. You can turn your wrist, and keep in mind, this amount of weight, it isn't much, but you're using your stabilization muscles because you're having to use your stabilizers to keep these from falling. So on a bar, if you're using a regular barbell, this would be strict and it would be together. So with this, you're having to stop these from moving, and that gives you an even better workout. And it keeps the lighter weight, making it more difficult. Let me show you a few more things. First, let me make sure it's actually pointed in the right direction. All right, I think it is. I use these for my push-ups a lot. And that's because I like the grip, it's large enough. It keeps my wrist straight. When you're doing regular push-ups, the stress on your wrist a lot of times can be excessive. So you'll see a lot of people, when they're doing a lot of them, they'll do it on knuckles. It gives you a tiny bit more height and makes it a little more difficult, but it puts less stress on your wrist. So I generally do like pressed with my thumb down, and I don't know why, but I put my knuckles down and my thumb right there, and then you'll see me doing push-ups this way. But that's where these come in. This takes all the pressure off of the knuckles and off of everything else, and this is one of the reasons they're so versatile. You can focus on your different positions while getting an extra amount of depth out of your push-up. So this puts my wrist a little bit higher, and instead of what I would be stopping here, you get that little extra. And then you can see your actual grip, and therefore you can modify if you want to bring it in, if you want to twist. If you're just doing an actual chest day, you can modify these, give yourself lighter grip. And again, it's a lot easier to see what you're doing by using the dumbbells. They're small enough that you can still do like hammer curls, and if it's too light, you'll still get a workout if you combine it by supersetting with something else. Maybe that's not hard for you to bring this up because it's not very hard for me. But if you superset it with, say, doing push-ups, you can make up workouts that's more of a hit training, to where if you did things like, I'm gonna do a couple of these jump up and do a hammer curl. There's a lot of versatility out of this weight range. It gets it to the point where if you get heavy enough, again, if you get lucky and that's probably pointing actually at me where you can see my face. If you get lucky and you get to pick up some and you get into it, then you can cheaply pick up lighter weights, and you can get stuff like, even if you just pick some up at Walmart, they are ridiculously cheap with the lighter weight stuff. Then you can get into doing your different raises, which can be kind of hard with that. I'm kind of winded after doing hit set. I am well into my workout this morning. A couple of the last things I can think to show you with using your regular little 25-pound dumbbells is if you want to do and you can do this sitting on the edge of a bed, or you can do it on anything. But again, this is where I like having a bench. You can do isolated curls, where you're utilizing your own leg to stabilize so that there's no swinging. If you're standing up, you might do the swing to get it up. This isolates, letting your arm stay as stabilized as possible using this, and then curl it, and you'll be surprised how much heavier a lighter weight becomes, even at a lightweight, like I said, like the 25. If it's still too light for you, slow down the rep. Time under pressure, making that a very slow curl, and going back. You can get it on the up and the down, and by doing that, you put time under pressure for that muscle. It increases the difficult level a lot. You can also do your wrist curls like that. Get your arm down and bring them up. You can do both at the same time. It's the equivalent of sitting on the edge of the bench. I'll show you another way to do this with the bench. I will do just do one at a time, but you can lay your wrist where it's sticking out past the bench and just do your curls like this. That works the forearm. You'll feel the burn in there. With a 25, it'll be just fine. If you have very weak wrist, make sure you experiment with doing it just standing up first and testing it. You may have to build up your strength by doing things like this. I don't want you to snap your wrist and say, Bobby told me to. Another thing that you can do, if you're trying to do a bicep day, is set the bench backwards. Let your arms dangle straight down. Then you still do your curls from here. Again, you can slow it down or speed it up. You can change your grip positioning and how you turn your arm, and that will activate a different muscle group. But that's how versatile using just something like that. You can get super fancy pieces of equipment. They're fantastic, but it's all about your dedication or what you want to put into it. And that's so much easier to pick up and find everywhere than to buy some $800 Peloton. Well, I think they're even more expensive, and have electronics telling you what to do. It's free to watch YouTube videos and have someone tell you, hey, you can do this. You can watch as many times as you want and just duplicate this stuff. I always work out a lot of different workouts. You just come up with things. As long as it's a healthy motion, you're good. Okay, so I bought every one of these, with the exception of those were purchased new from Walmart, and those were purchased new from Walmart because they were such a good deal at those 90s. Everything else on that was bought through either Facebook Marketplace or a friend who was not working out anymore. They were giving up or whatever. I believe my wife may have purchased a couple of those new originally, but it's so far back I really don't remember. I like the matting material in my gym. This is all freebie stuff that was given away through other people or through that's why it's so pieced together. Also, my gym leaks. So in case you're ever wondering about, oh, he's got such nice stuff. No, I have a leak. It's been raining tonight and there's a leak in my gym. I just taped off and painted these colors because lime green is my thing and purple is my wife's, and therefore we painted. I painted the back of the house, which is all this is the back of my house, painted white just so that it brightened up the room. the wood. Those were free windows. That wood was trees that was on my property that was cut and run through a sawmill. I designed it myself and installed it all 100% myself. This is just white silicone that's stuffed in the cracks because even though I had the wood dried for 6 months out in the open, it still shrank, and it continued to shrink for the next 2 or 3 years. These are just a heater that we bought from like Northern Tool and a regular AC unit. I did the wiring myself that just runs across, goes down, and you can see where my pipe runs on the exterior and goes right across, goes back in, and there's where it goes up and ties into my house. And I came out and gave myself another electrical outlet over here, which is where that plugs in. It is not as fancy when you really get into it as what it seems. That's our dryer vent, because this used to be, when the house was originally built, the outside of the house and the vent just come right out there. Well, then you have to rearrange. A lot of this other stuff was picked up from Marketplace or a friend who was literally giving this away. That and that I did buy from like I don't know what you call it, but where they use they sell used workout equipment. Here's how I make my fancy YouTube videos. All freebie stuff. People don't use selfie sticks anymore, so there's a regular selfie stick here, and then this was an old mount for a camera and some electrical tape. You can see that very high-class job there. Gives you a very adjustable, and then more adjustable up here with still your selfie stick. Invested cost in that, if you had to buy it from a thrift store or something, probably $5. And then once you get into it, if you have any friends or family, you'll find that people randomly give you things like grip strength stuff and whatever workout stuff they've given up on. We have invested in several things as far as like a dumbbell and kettlebell sets. The kettlebells, you can tell there's quite the collage of different timing, different errors, where we've when you get started, everything's usually those fluorescent colors. But none of this is super fancy. I paid a brother-in-law who's into welding to make this rack for us. He did a very good job. All the free weights, those are things that I've picked up here and there. That's why nothing matches at all. It is all just one weight, and another 45, and another 45, and another 45, and they're all random. It's whatever we've got that fits the bill at the time. So just, if you get into it and it keeps it interesting, it's it's nice. I do like, I did buy this cable machine from, it's been so many years now, I honestly don't remember it, but I think that was, you know what, I know for a fact it was a person on Facebook Marketplace that was selling it out of one of those storage units that they just buy stuff and resell it. Again, and I don't comment on it a lot, but I do use a lot of in fact, I use these. I love using different bands for a lot of different things, and they are not an expensive thing to invest in. You just have a set of grips that you put on them, and then you can do a ton of extra workouts. So if you were expanding on a new investment, I would start with just dumbbells, a couple of sets. Then I would progress towards, if you think you want to just do a bench, do a bench. I think that it's nice. It's a great way of adding stuff. And then I would invest in some bands. Again, very low entry level stuff and easy to get half of your money back out of if you decide not to do it in the future. This has been just a how to get started on working out. I do want to encourage people to do that. Eating right And working out saves your life for the long term. You can invest 30 minutes or an hour in a day, and a lot of people argue, wow, that's really just wasting away your time. No, it's not. I'm out here by myself in the gym. It's my quiet time to think. I might listen to an audiobook. I might listen to hard rock music and really get into it. I might listen to the stock market news or something just to try to learn new skills. But it's a good hobby that adds time. So if you were to be extremely sedentary and maybe work very hard and will make great money, what if you retire at age 55 or 60 and you sit around and you've never developed life skills to encourage you to sit around and actually work out and stay healthy? Well, then if you sit around at that point, your blood doesn't flow, you can't physically do the things you want to do. What if you die because of bad health and diet choices at age 10 years after that? Let's just put it at around 70 or something. That's very logical. Now, nobody knows how much time they're given. Everybody knows that. It's just one of those things that I like to put into perspective. Giving away an extra hour or half hour a day could possibly buy you 10 or 20 years at the end of your life. That just means that you actually weren't giving away time at all. You're just adding longevity to your hopefully better long-term goals. Maybe if that added to have a healthy 80-year-old versus a immobile 70-year-old, then that was very good time spent. That'll be in hopefully your golden years when you actually have some time. I'm past 40, so I'm into those ages where I try to think about the long term. I want to think about doing things that I want to do in the future, and that's why I make videos like this. That I'm by far not some, high grossing YouTube person. I'm just the person that thinks that sometimes a video like this can help at least one or two people, and just being real with somebody, not trying to photo crop perfect angles. It shows somebody that you can be healthy. I'll reverse this, just by using things like just a 25-pound dumbbells. And it's a great way to get started, and it's not some gimmick that is like, well, you have to have this. And I don't want to call anybody out and say things, but the standard things would be like a Bowflex or something like that. It's like, those are very specific and nothing wrong with them. I like all of that stuff. It's just, if you want an honest opinion, get yourself some light dumbbells. If you can't afford anything, there are plenty of things that you can modify to make yourself. You can take buckets, 5-gallon. You can take 5-gallon buckets, put sand in them, and you can curl them. There's no limit. I'm a member of a Facebook group that just does calisthenics, and there's no weights involved. There's thousands of things that you can do just in body weight. But I just like, if I was going to buy something, sometimes buying things is like starting a new job, and then if it's a construction job, the first thing I do is go out and get themselves some work boots and some, heavy duty pants or whatever. It makes you feel more invested in it, and that's one of the reasons that I encourage the dumbbell. You have something. It's something to get you started. It's something to see and feel, and it gets you a little bit excited about it. And the initial investment doesn't cost you $10,000. It is something that is very easy to start up and maintain. So for the long run on your life, invest in yourself. Try it out to get yourself some 25-pound dumbbells.